we dealt with the problems like stress, anxiety and depression in the first part. Here we are going to explain the management of the teenage problems like stress, anxiety and depression through Ayurveda. We can come to the point Ayurveda. What is Ayurveda? Ayurveda means science of life. There are two words, Ayu and Veda. In Ayurveda, we can see that Ayurveda give more importance for preventive side than the treatment side. There are so many do and don't do in Ayurveda. In Ayurveda, it's an ancient system of Indian medicine. The human body is composed of derivative of basic elements like Akasha, ether, Vayu, air, fire, Agni and Jala, water and earth, Prati. Permutation and combination of the above 5 elements make the basic factors of the body like Vata, Pitta and Kapha. These are the 3 doshas or 3 morbid factors. The Vata, the factor responsible for air, space and lightness and motion. Pitta, the factors responsible for heat, digestion, vision and color. And Kapha, the factor responsible for liquidity, sliminess and heaviness. Ayurveda consider an individual as a miniature of the world itself. Here wind, sun and moon are the representatives of air or Vata, Pitta and Kapha. The healing and prevention of Ayurveda differs from Western medicines. The contemporary or the Western medicines is based on the principles of promotion of health rather than the elimination of disease. If balance is disturbed, the Ayurveda perspectives support the toxin or ama will accumulate and saturate the tissue of the body. It will cause the disease of the body. So, Ayurveda explain about the detoxification therapy to eliminate the poison or ama in the body. So, it will cause the disease. Ayurveda share the concept of treating the ailment of the patient by maintaining the personalization of the individual as well as the social world of the individual, which is missing in the modern stream of medicines. Another important factor of Ayurveda is concerning the body and mind. Mind is constituted with a mental attribute which is the cause of like, dislike, happiness, sorrow and other things. The morbid factor of mind or manas are sattva, raja, tamas. All the above 3 can be correlated to the 3 morbid factors of the body, namely Vata, Pitta and Kapha. An individual is said to be physically and mentally healthy when this body and mind become healthy. Any imbalance either in the body or mind, it causes imbalance total of the body and it will create the disease either mentally or psychologically or both. A person is said to be mentally strong or with a high self-esteem when his sattva guna quality is increased. A person will suffer from depression when the tama is impaired. A person suffer from depression when his or her tama is impaired. A person is suffer from anxiety and stress when his rajas is impaired. An impaired body dosha make the body weak and make it susceptible for the physical disease. So, mind and body as an interconnected at all the levels. So, when we give the treatment, it is very important to give the treatment mentally and physically. When we come to the Ayurveda, there is a classification of the human being into 4. We can first part is the Bala, Yauvana, Madhyama and Vriddha. Bala is from birth to 16 years, Yauvana is 16 to 30 years, Madhyama is to 30 to 60 and above the 60 is Vriddha. Here my subject is teenage. This is in between the Bala, the last part of Bala and first part of Yauvana. The signs and symptoms of any disease is a source of information about the prognosis of the treatment. When the signs and symptoms of anxiety, stress and depression are studied thoroughly through the Ayurveda perspectives, we may come to the conclusion that the anxiety is nothing but an impairment of Vata, stress is due to the impairment of Pitta, and depression is due to the impairment of Kapha. Thus, the management of anxiety should be focused on all the treatment modalities which bring back to the increased Vata to normalcy. Similarly, in the case of stress and depression, we want to concentrate on the treatment modalities of Pitta and Kapha. Here, when we divide the treatment into mental side and physical side, we can give the treatment over the physical side, just like counseling, Ayurvedic treatment and yoga also very helpful in these conditions. Already I talked about Ayurveda, the preventive side. Here also in the teenage problem, we can have two types of treatment. One is the preventive side, and another is the treatment for the problems. In preventive side, we want to start the treatment before getting the baby itself. Here we want to increase the health, mental health and body health of the couples. Here Ayurveda recommend before getting the baby, they must undergo for detoxification therapy to get a healthy baby. Panchakarma or detoxification therapy is in Ayurveda is a prime type of treatment which is gaining attention and attraction worldwide. Panchakarma is a set of treatment. Here there are 5 types of treatment we can see. The first one is the Niruha, means medicated enema and purgation, and emesis, vomiting, and nausea, nasal medication, and last one is the bloodletting therapy. These are the 5 types of treatment we are doing for the detoxification of the body. So, if we get a child from healthy parents, surely it will be the healthy baby, so we can resist or we can avoid the problems like depression, anxiety and stress of the child. The preventive approach of anxiety, stress and depression. The excess of desire towards the thing is the main cause for more psychic disorders during teenage. During the adolescent stage, a girl or boy start to feel about pseudo maturity. It makes them poor in decision making. Teens with self-esteem falls in a prey for anxiety and depression. When we take the main cause of external pressure is the peer pressure. This makes the most of the teenagers very problematic. A peer is someone in your own age group, such as classmates, school or relative of the same age, etc. Pressure is the feeling of being pushed into the doing something or good or bad. Thus, peer pressure is the feeling of being pushed into doing something by someone of your own age. We can see why teenage are vulnerable to the peer pressure. There are so many factors we can see. The first one is to be accepted and liked by other people. They want to show they are grown up, and they having afraid of being rejected from the company or from the group, and afraid of losing the friends, and afraid of being teased, and they don't know how to say no. These are the factors. They are vulnerable to the peer pressure. We can come to the Ayurvedic perspectives of treatment or management. Here, first thing is the preventive method, and second is the treatment with the medicine for the affected things. These are 2 ways we can treat in Ayurveda. When you come to the preventive method, the first and foremost is the Panchakarma or detoxification treatment and Acharya Rasayana and practice of yoga, maintaining the balance between the professional life and personal life, healthy relationship in the family, sharing the happiness with the teens of the family. What are the preventive measures? Couple undergo purification therapy before conception. Take milk, ghee and honey every time. Avoid Vata, Pitta increasing factors, either it's food or activities. Avoid more spicy food. Avoid stressful situations. Then comes to yoga. There are so many yogas with which we can control our mind and through which we can control our body. Teenage is the crucial period in our life. this in between the childhood and adulthood. There are so many problems like depression, anxiety, stress. Here we have guest today, Mr. Sudeep, yoga master, having more than 20 years experience in this field. We can see what help we can get from yoga. Hello Sudeep.
Hello doctor.
In such a problems, how yoga can help?
Yeah, yoga have a big role into solving the problem of the teenagers facing, mainly the mental problems to that. Because this is the stage when they're having a lot of changes to that, some emotional, physiological changes. That is why they're facing to that. So the yogic practice, the scientific practice of yoga, giving a mental stability, a emotional stability to them. So that in this way, the scientific practice of step-by-step practice of yoga can help a lot in these problems.
What are the yogic practices to solve these problems?
Yeah, yoga is not just a morning, evening practice, time scheduled practices. Actually, yoga is a total lifestyle practices based on some principles like the three important principles of yoga to be healthy is the proper food, proper exercise and proper relaxation to that. Actually, this is the mantra of health, we can say. Other than there are some specific practices like asana practices, is calling the physical practices, some stretching, bending practices with a proper breath control to them. And other than this, there are some specific breathing practices, is called pranayama. Pranayama can give a lot of vital energy in the human being to that, and it can improve the energy level to that. Also can support a lot of mind level support also by the pranayama practice. And the third level practice, that is the mind control practice, is calling the meditation. As in yoga is calling dhyana to that. So by including this physical practices, the breath control practice and meditation practice, yoga can help a lot to them. So these are the main tools yoga used.
In this confused teenage, how they can take a correct decision?
It's an important point. The teenager is always in a very confused state to take a decision. They are totally in a depressed state. They can't take a correct decision. Here is the importance of the parents and teachers to that. Give them, inspire and give a guideline to take a proper steps to take a proper lifestyle to be healthy and to overcome this problem. So more than to starting this yoga or the good lifestyle in this age after having the problem, the better way is to they start yogic practice in the very early stage, means in the childhood. So usually the yoga tradition is telling at 8 years of age one can start yoga. So very childhood, if you are starting a good lifestyle, a proper lifestyle, later we don't need to make a strain for that. So it's becoming the part of life to them. So this is the importance of parents, and parents also need to be a little bit aware about the yoga. Then only they can lead the children to this way of lifestyle, good lifestyle.
Ayurveda give more equal importance for body and mind, and also Ayurveda give a lifestyle also. Example, for the psychological problems or mental problems, Ayurveda says to avoid non-vegetarian food. Is there any such a lifestyle and yogic food?
Yeah, actually yoga and Ayurveda is not different. It's coming from the same base, from the same text, from same traditional knowledge is coming. It's from long time, from centuries, maybe millennium, is hand to hand is working to them. So the basic concept of the human body is the same, no difference between the Ayurveda and yoga. The aim of Ayurveda and yoga also the same, the self-actualization, spirituality. But Ayurveda in the beginning, they're giving for the important for the physical health. So health is the main aim to that. But Ayurveda, yoga is a pure spiritual practice to that, because the next level of Ayurveda we can call for is the pure spiritual practice, the yoga to that. So both are continuing the same food habit and the food that in one way, but as a health science, Ayurveda adopting the vegetarian food or non-vegetarian food all for the health purpose to that, some specific food. But as yoga is a spiritual practice according to the moral side, after a level of yoga, they always recommending the vegetarian food as to that because of his moral side to that. Okay, so that is the difference between actually. In all other cases, the same.
Ayurveda give more importance for preventive side. From this conversation, we can understand that not only Ayurveda treatment and medicine is enough. If we join yoga with this, we can assure a very good and complete a good result for the teenage problems. Thank you. When you come to the individual treatment for the disease like stress, anxiety and depression, as I told you, anxiety is due to the Vata disorders and stress is due to the Pitta disorders and depression is due to the Kapha disorders. So we want to take the treatment for Vata, Pitta and Kapha which cause the diseases. Among these, if you join the counseling and yoga together, we can expect very good result in the management of teenage problems. When we come to the treatment side, we can classify into three: self-treatment, counseling and Ayurvedic treatment. Self-treatment they can do from their home itself, and counseling they can go to the psychologist to do the counseling and they can have the Ayurveda treatment also. Again we come to the anxiety treatment. Here also we can classify into three sections or three divisions like self-treatment, counseling and medication. When we come to the treatment for anxiety disorders in Ayurveda, which are the treatment good for Vata reducing, we can give all the treatment and lifestyle in these problems. When you talk about the anxiety treatment, in Ayurveda, there are so many treatment, anti-Vata treatment like enema, Shirodhara, oil bath, foot massage and also internal medicines. Some of the herbal sources used for anxieties are Ashwagandha, Yasna, Sarpagandha. We can come to the treatment side of the stress in Ayurveda. According to Ayurveda, it is the cause of Pitta and we can give the treatment which are good for Pitta reducing, whether treatment or lifestyle. The basic treatment plan can be divided into three: self-treatment, counseling and Ayurvedic treatment. Most teens experience more stress when they find situation to be dangerous, difficult or painful and they do not have the resource to cope. Teens can become overloaded with stress which can lead to anxiety, withdrawal, aggression, physical illness or poor coping skill such as smoking, drinking alcohol and using illicit drugs. Healthy way to manage stress includes exercise and eat regularly, listen to music, talk to your friends, draw drawings, writing something and spend time with good friends. And the friends must be positive thinking and you will get the company or network of that friend and make use of this friend to to avoid the stress. Avoid caffeine which can cause feeling of anxiety and agitation and avoid illegal drugs like alcohol and tobacco. We can come to the treatment of stress in Ayurveda. There are a lot of treatment we can use for reducing Pitta disorders or Pitta aggravation. There are so many treatment like Jaladhara, the pouring of cold water on the head and body, and Kshiradhara, medicated milk pouring on the head, and Virajana, purgation, Lavana, paste of herbal drugs all over the body, Padabhyanga, foot massage and Rektamosha, bloodletting therapy and Netratarpana and internal medicines. Here I can suggest you some single drug which you can use for maintaining the stress. Some of the drug Amalagi, Embolica officinalis and Manduka Varni, Scindilla asiatica and Jadamamsi, Nordostachys jadamamsi. These are the single drug we can use for maintaining the health and avoid the stress. It will increase the mental stability and strength and cope up with the problems. The last one is the depression. Here I can explain the treatment for depression in Ayurvedic view. Here also we categorize in the 3 types of treatment: self-treatment, counseling and Ayurvedic medications. As being the depression is cause is kapha, we want to take the treatment for reducing kapha. Kapha treatment mainly Vamana or emesis, and also we can give the treatment like Uddhartana and the medicines which can reduce kapha. Some of the herbal medicine are Vaja, Acorus calamus, Brahmi, Bacopa monera and Guruji and Shankhupushpi. These are the herbs we can use for reducing depression. It is a very good tonic for the brain also. The last part is a conclusion. We can see that there are so many problems related to mind and body. When we do the preventive side, it is better than the treatment side. So, I can conclude that before getting the baby, all the parents must be ready to give birth a child after detoxification therapy. And for the child, it's very important that the relationship with the parents that make capable to withstand the problems for the child, mainly teenagers. Thank you.